What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today with the coolest strat that I've seen so far in this season, and it is making use of the season charms from Duras trial to clear Duras trial. Yeah, I mean, it is really fun, I have to say. I was absolutely stunned yesterday by how insane this team is. Carried me to 19 on those both Dawnrises, and then to 19 on these two Dawnrises as well. So I used it for all 4 challenges to get to 19. And this was fairly easy, I have to say. And we can take a look at it today and how this works out. It uses all these skills from the charms and combines them in a fairly interesting way. As you know, in Nightmare there are only specific heroes that you can use that are kind of limited, so we can't build this team right there. You have to see with your own heroes what you can do in there. But in Dawnrise we can use every single hero, so we are in the position where we can in fact battle there. And you can see this is the team that I used. And I moved the Bonnie here a little back. We have Bonnie, we have Iron, we have our Ulmus, we have Hugin, and we have Arden. And in fact, in a second, you will see the pretty insane demonstration of this team. We're using none of the buffed heroes, so we are not using Sylvina, Viperion, or whoever. Not at all. We could if we wanted to, but didn't really give any advantage. I was considering doing it for Bonnie, but maybe for this situation, for this second, let's just take a look at what this team does. And I'm very much looking forward to if this lags on my PC as well as it did on my phone, because it tends to lag. And yeah, we see definitely frame rate dropping, and you see yeah, those are a lot of numbers, and it's actually quite the madness, I have to say. We have the Seth in there. For this one, you have to say the Seth can break out. It can hurt your team. It might take 1 or 2 attempts, but you can see even without using any of the buffed heroes for this, even without any of this, and using just the Hugin and Bonnie. Of course, our Arden and the Iron, pretty classic CC comp. We're getting through this fairly well. This is mostly a damage check, but one that we now won, of course, so this is pretty cool. And yeah, it's a frame rate killer, I have to say. So yeah, this just gave us another Arden charm, which I definitely appreciated. Very nice. So let's take a look at this. We took some damage here from the Seth, but we didn't even need to. Well, or if we say it in a different way, it could have been avoidable if we just had a bit of better RNG. But you can see the enemies can't really do anything. You're hitting them all the time with the Arden damage. And you see there is a ton of true damage numbers in there. A ton of attack speed debuffs, we see Entangle, we see a ton of magic damage, and we see all the white true damage numbers. And if you know all the heroes on this team, you know none of them actually deal true damage. There is not a single true damage dealer on this team. And in this season there is actually something that is fairly fancy, and this is the Hugin charm. And there is shared with simulators. Rainier, for example, has the same charm. And what this charm does, it converts the damage of the hero that is placed behind him at the start of the battle to a certain percentage to true damage. So what this does is, as we have Arden placed behind Hugin, Arden's damage will actually partly be converted to true damage. And this, of course, allows us to deal a little bit more damage to enemies that have high defenses. So it will work a little bit better. Taking a look now at Hugin, let's do this. Where is he? Hiding. There he is. We actually do have the yellow charms. When a battle starts, grants the ally placed 1 tile and discards the ability to convert 30% of the damage dealt into true damage. And we have some attack increase later on if we get into higher states. So we get true damage from that. Also, of course, well, we have Hugin's Anvil, and we have the tile that is right behind him. And this grants us a pretty massive attack boost, on top of then getting the attack boost from his active skill, because, well, Arden, of course, dealt the highest damage. And Arden is perfect for this, because just like other heroes, such as, for example, Odie, he doesn't really move a whole lot. He stands on his tile, and we have the nice synergy with the other wilder heroes here, of course. And Arden has, in fact, a charm that is perfect for this as well, because Arden usually hits single enemies. But not in this situation. When dealing damage to a target causes splash damage equal to 32% of the base damage to their adjacent enemies. And with all the buffs that we just got, this ends up looking like we just saw in the video. This ends up looking like a ton of damage. We hit all the enemies, we pull them together with the iron, we hit them even more, we get the splash damage we usually only know from Carolina. And we deal it as true damage. We deal a ton of true damage to those enemies. And this results in actually a fairly insane damage output. And the possibility to clear Duras trial without any charms or any of the recommended heroes really. In a pretty consistent manner, because we also use Bonnie on top to stun the enemies. I also use this for talent trials a little bit. It does actually work. The only thing that I would recommend here, if you really want to use something like this against those enemies, you have to change the positioning a little bit. Usually Iron pulls them to like here, and this is sometimes a bit too far for our Arden, and then he will start moving. So what I do is I just place our Hugin here in the front, and then I go ahead and place all the other wilder heroes that we want there. Just like that. We switch over the Arden, of course, behind our Iron, put those right here, and then we have our last hero, where, I mean, of course, we could use twins, but for the extra CC consistency, definitely recommend the Bonnie. There's nothing speaking against placing Bonnie on that tile right here. Will this clear every single stage in existence? No. But it will actually do fairly well against a lot of stages. So we can see right here, we pull the enemies over and we get the pretty much the same result we saw in Duras trial. But on top of that, we get to buff our Bonnie a little bit more. And yeah, so fairly fancy strategy. We can use similar strategies with, for example, Rainier. And we can do the same thing essentially with every single hero in regards to the true damage conversion, because of course, well, every single hero can be placed behind our Hugin, and maybe in the future we might see some strategies with, for example, Talene, maybe Talene and Endless, because we now have more possibilities to actually get true damage. Interestingly enough, Iron has the same charm with the splash damage, making him kind of good in PvP as well. I didn't use the Ulmus charms yet, so that is something that we could still maybe do, but this works fairly well. It will still, of course, not work against these the classic heroes that are not really affected by CC, such as the Sharkier or the very annoying monsters from the Waves of Intrigue. But I just love this because we have so much splash damage, we have so much true damage. We have such a nice melt here. Look at that, it's a 10-second stage melt just here with Arden, and we are actually on the over the max amount for in terms of progress for today, 787. I'm not sure how far are we. 795 would be the maximum for tomorrow even. So we can still progress a little bit, but you see, against most stages this works fairly well. Not too sure how it will work against the Beam Golem, because this one is a mean one. Don't know those dogs in the front. Oh, those seem to be immune against CC. Well, yeah, doesn't work against every single stage, though we are fairly tanky. I kind of like that because we have the Hugin in there. Ah, there we go. Okay, we didn't hit them at the start, but now they're gone as well. So, super easy team, pretty cool one as well, using Hugin, which is about plus 10 points on my book. Plus 10 points on my book. And we have Bonnie in there for some extra stunts. So, this is a fairly cool team in my opinion, and one that is definitely worth checking out. In general, I think a lot of people have kind of lost the Iron comp out of their sight. This will work in Supreme Arena as well, by the way, fun fact, because we can do the true damage conversion there as well. We have the charms, we have everything active in there. I didn't really do it for that yet, but for PvE and especially for the Duras trial, I wholeheartedly recommend you to check this out. If you don't have Bonnie, then maybe just go ahead and use Carolina instead. Where is she? There. Carolina will also do a ton of damage. A little bit less CC consistency there, but we get a little bit of CC, and that is pretty cool. Hugin, replacing Hugin, I mean, we kind of want the true damage conversion. We could do with Rainier because, well, he does the same. But it wouldn't be the same with the attack buff. So I guess Rainier comes pretty close. Would be interesting to see that. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And with that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.